Nutrients are components in food that the body needs to grow and maintain healthy function. Basically, the body needs nutrients to survive. There are 6 classifications of nutrients. Carbohydrates, which are mainly energy for cellular function. Proteins, whose primary function is to grow and maintain tissue and build other important chemicals in the body. Fats, which provide energy and protection. Vitamins, which contribute to important functions in the body. Minerals, which also contribute to bodily functions. And water, which makes up about 60% of body weight. It's important to recognize that all 6 nutrients are important for healthy function, with nutrient balance being the key. A great strategy to finding nutrient balance is to eat a wide variety of foods and avoid eating the same foods every day. Consuming fruits, veggies, and other nutrient-dense foods can help accomplish this. Nutrient-dense foods are often defined as foods that provide a lot of nutrients while not containing a high calorie count. So let's look at an example. Say you are craving something sweet. Option 1 is a glazed donut, which contains 190 calories and provides 8% of the RDI for vitamin C and a small amount of calcium and iron. Option 2 is a cup of raspberries, which provides 64 calories and is high in vitamin C, manganese, vitamin K, and copper. Raspberries also contain smaller amounts of many other vitamins and minerals, and they're loaded with antioxidants, phytonutrients, and 8 grams of fiber, which helps with digestion. As you can see, far less calories and many more nutrients, which equals a much healthier option. And that is the basics on nutrients.
Nutrition in human beings. Human beings are omnivorous in nutrition, that is, they take in both plant food and animal food. The nutrition in human beings takes place through human digestive system. The human digestive system consists of organs such as mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. These organs together form the alimentary canal. Human digestive system also contains glands such as salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. Nutrition in human beings include various steps. They are ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, egestion. We will now describe the various steps of nutrition in human beings. Ingestion. The human beings have special organ for the ingestion of food. It is called mouth. It is bounded by upper and lower lip. The food is put into the mouth with the help of hands. Digestion. The digestion of food starts as soon as we put food in our mouth. This happens as follows. The mouth cavity or buccal cavity contains teeth, tongue, and salivary glands. The teeth cut the food into small pieces, chew and grind it, so teeth helps in physical digestion. Salivary glands present in our mouth produces saliva which mixes with the food while it is being chewed. The saliva contains an enzyme, amylase, which digests the starch present in food into sugar called glucose. Tongue helps in mixing the food with saliva and pushes the food during swallowing. The slightly digested food in the mouth is swallowed by the tongue into a common passage for both respiratory and digestive tracts, that is, pharynx. When food enters into pharynx, the muscles of the pharynx contract to push the food into the esophagus or food pipe. At this time, the valve called epiglottis, covering the windpipe, closes. This prevents the food from entering the respiratory tract. From pharynx, the food is gulped down into the tube-like structure called esophagus. The esophagus is lined with muscles that contract and relax rhythmically. This pushes the food forward. This is called peristalsis. Peristalsis occurs all along the gut. The epithelial cells of esophagus also secrete mucus which lubricates the food. This also helps in moving the food forward. The peristaltic movement of esophagus pushes the food into the stomach. The stomach is a J-shaped organ present on the left side of the abdomen. The food entered is churned in the stomach for about 3 hours. During this time, the food breaks down into still smaller pieces and forms a semi-solid paste. The stomach wall contains tubular glands in its walls. The glands present in the walls of the stomach secrete gastric juice. The gastric juice contains 3 substances: hydrochloric acid, the enzyme pepsin, and mucus. Hydrochloric acid provides an acidic environment for the action of enzyme pepsin. The enzyme pepsin begins the digestion of proteins present in food to form smaller molecules. Thus, the protein digestion begins in the stomach. Mucus provides the protection to inner lining of the stomach from the action of the acid under normal conditions. The partially digested food then goes from the stomach into the small intestine. This is regulated by a sphincter muscle which releases food in small amounts into the small intestine. Small intestine is the longest part of the alimentary canal and is about 6.5 meters long in adult man. It is arranged in the form of a coil in our belly. Small intestine helps in the digestion and absorption of nutrients. The small intestine receives the secretions of 2 glands, liver and pancreas. Pancreas secrete pancreatic juice into the small intestine. Pancreatic juice contains enzymes such as trypsin and lipase. Trypsin breaks down proteins and lipase breaks down fat. Liver secretes bile, which is a greenish yellow liquid. It is stored in gallbladder. Bile helps in breaking fats present in food. The walls of the small intestine contain glands which secrete intestinal juice. The intestinal juice contains a number of enzymes which helps in further digestion of food. In this way, the food is completely digested in the small intestine. Absorption. Till now we have studied about digestion in the small intestine. Next, we will understand how absorption takes place in the small intestine. The small intestine is the main region for the absorption of digested food. After digestion, the molecules of food become very small and it is pushed ahead in the small intestine by contraction and relaxation of the muscles. The inner surface of the small intestine has millions of tiny finger-like projections called villi. The digested food is absorbed by the villi. Now let us take a closer view of one villus. The villi are in close contact with the blood vessels. The food present in the villi is absorbed by the blood. Assimilation. From the blood, digested food is carried to all parts of the body. The digested food is used by the cells for obtaining energy and for the growth and repair of the body. The digested food which is not used by our body immediately is stored in the liver in the form of a carbohydrate called glycogen. This stored glycogen can be used as a source of energy by the body as and when required. Digestion. A part of food which we eat cannot be digested by our body. The undigested food cannot be absorbed in the small intestine. So, undigested food passes from the small intestine into a wider tube called the large intestine. As it moves along the large intestine, the villi within it absorb the water, so the undigested food becomes almost solid. The last part of the large intestine is called the rectum. It stores this undigested food for some time. Then it is thrown out through the anus. The act of expelling the feces is called egestion.
Across the whole planet, humans eat on average between 1 and 2.7 kilograms of food a day. That's over 365 kilograms a year per person, and more than 28,800 kilograms over the course of a lifetime. And every last scrap makes its way through the digestive system. Comprised of 10 organs, covering 9 meters, and containing over 20 specialized cell types, this is one of the most diverse and complicated systems in the human body. Its parts continuously work in unison to fulfill a singular task, transforming the raw materials of your food into the nutrients and energy that keep you alive. Spanning the entire length of your torso, the digestive system has 4 main components. First, there's the gastrointestinal tract, a twisting channel that transports your food and has an internal surface area of between 30 and 40 square meters, enough to cover half a badminton court. Second, there's the pancreas, gallbladder, and liver, a trio of organs that break down food using an array of special juices. Third, the body's enzymes, hormones, nerves, and blood all work together to break down food, modulate the digestive process, and deliver its final products. Finally, there's the mesentery, a large stretch of tissue that supports and positions all your digestive organs in the abdomen, enabling them to do their jobs. The digestive process begins before food even hits your tongue. Anticipating a tasty morsel, glands in your mouth start to pump out saliva. We produce about 1.5 liters of this liquid each day. Once inside your mouth, chewing combines with the sloshing saliva to turn food into a moist lump called the bolus. Enzymes present in the saliva break down any starch. Then your food finds itself at the rim of a 25 centimeter long tube called the esophagus, down which it must plunge to reach the stomach. Nerves in the surrounding esophageal tissue sense the bolus's presence and trigger peristalsis, a series of defined muscular contractions. That propels the food into the stomach, where it's left at the mercy of the muscular stomach walls, which pound the bolus, breaking it into chunks. Hormones secreted by cells in the lining trigger the release of acids and enzyme-rich juices from the stomach wall that start to dissolve the food and break down its proteins. These hormones also alert the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder to produce digestive juices and transfer bile, a yellowish-green liquid that digests fat, in preparation for the next stage. After 3 hours inside the stomach, the once shapely bolus is now a frothy liquid called chyme, and it's ready to move into the small intestine. The liver sends bile to the gallbladder, which secretes it into the first portion of the small intestine. called the duodenum. Here, it dissolves the fats floating in the slurry of chyme so they can be easily digested by the pancreatic and intestinal juices that have leached onto the scene. These enzyme-rich juices break the fat molecules down into fatty acids and glycerol for easier absorption into the body. The enzymes also carry out the final deconstruction of proteins into amino acids and carbohydrates into glucose. This happens in the small intestine's lower regions, the jejunum and ileum, which are coated in millions of tiny projections called villi. These create a huge surface area to maximize molecule absorption and transference into the bloodstream. The blood takes them on the final leg of their journey to feed the body's organs and tissues. But it's not over quite yet. Leftover fiber, water, and dead cells sloughed off during digestion make it into the large intestine, also known as the colon. The body drains out most of the remaining fluid through the intestinal wall. What's left is a soft mass called stool. The colon squeezes this byproduct into a pouch called the rectum, where nerves sense it expanding and tell the body when it's time to expel the waste. The byproducts of digestion exit through the anus, and the food's long journey, typically lasting between 30 and 40 hours, is finally complete. Just between your chest and abdomen is where you'll find one of the most important muscles you probably didn't know you had, the lower esophageal sphincter, or LES. When functioning properly, this ring of tissue plays a crucial role in helping us eat. But when the LES malfunctions, it becomes the main player in heartburn, a searing, sometimes sour-tasting chest spasm that many people will experience at some point in their lives. We know that humans have been battling heartburn for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. But recently, the incidence has risen, making it a common stomach complaint worldwide. When the symptoms of heartburn become more regular and intense, such as twice a week or more, it's diagnosed as gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD. But what causes this problem, and how can it be stopped? Heartburn starts in an area called the gastroesophageal junction, where the LES resides. This smooth, muscular ring of the LES is moderated by an intricate tree of nerve roots that connect to the brain, the heart, and the lungs. After food enters the stomach from the esophagus, the muscle's task is to stop it from surging back up again. The LES contracts, squeezing the stomach entrance and creating a high-pressure zone that prevents digestive acids from seeping out. But if the LES relaxes at the wrong moment or gradually weakens, it becomes like a faulty, ill-fitting lid, causing the area to depressurize. That allows burning stomach acid and even chunks of food to spurt into the esophagus, sometimes going as far up as the mouth. The cause of all this internal drama has long been put down to diet. Foods like caffeine and peppermint contain ingredients that may have a relaxing effect on the LES, which makes it incapable of doing its job. Other acidic foods, like citrus and tomatoes, can worsen irritation of the esophagus when they leach out with stomach acid. Carbonated beverages can similarly bubble up in the stomach, forcing open the valve. But researchers have discovered that food isn't the only trigger. Smoking poses a risk because the nicotine in cigarettes relaxes the LES. Consuming excessive amounts of alcohol may have a similar effect. Pregnant women often experience more heartburn due to the pressure of a growing baby on their stomachs and the levels of certain hormones in their bodies. Obesity can cause hernias that disrupt the anti-reflux barrier of the gastroesophageal junction that normally protects against heartburn. Numerous medications, including those for asthma, high blood pressure, birth control, and depression, can also have unintended effects on the LES. An occasional bout of heartburn isn't necessarily something to worry about, but if heartburn starts happening regularly, it can weaken the LES muscle over time, letting more and more acid escape. And if it goes untreated, this can cause bigger problems. Over time, constant acid leakage from heartburn may form scar tissue, which narrows the esophageal tube, making it harder to swallow food. Ongoing reflux can also damage the cells lining the esophagus, a rare condition called Barrett's esophagus, which can elevate the risk of esophageal cancer. Luckily, heartburn is often treatable with a range of medicines that can help neutralize or reduce stomach acid. In extreme cases, some people have surgery to tighten the LES to minimize their distress. But we can often stop heartburn before it reaches that point. Reducing the consumption of certain foods, not smoking, and maintaining a healthy weight can all dramatically reduce reflux. With proper care, we can help our LESs keep the chemical fountain of our stomachs in proper order and avoid having to feel the burn. Hey, have you ever wondered what those floaty things inside your eye are? Check out this video to finally crack the case.
We all remember taking vitamins as kids, but what exactly are these vitamins and what do they do? Vitamins are essential nutrients needed by the body in small amounts to allow it to grow, develop, and function normally. In total, there are 13 vitamins needed by the body. Vitamins come in two types that are transported and stored differently in the body. These are water-soluble and lipid-soluble vitamins. Water-soluble vitamins dissolve in water and are able to move around freely in the body through the blood. These vitamins are found in the watery portions of fruits, vegetables, and grains. Water-soluble vitamins are not stored in the body. The body takes the vitamins needed from our food, and the remainder is disposed of through the kidneys. This means that water-soluble vitamins need to be regularly replenished as part of our daily diet. Fat-soluble vitamins, on the other hand, need fat in order to dissolve. These vitamins require special carrier proteins to be transported in the blood. Unlike water-soluble vitamins, fat-soluble vitamins are stored in fat cells when excess vitamin is present in the diet, to be used at a later time. Now let's take a look at two water-soluble vitamins, vitamins B and C. We'll now be talking about one common water-soluble vitamin, vitamin B. There are 8 types of vitamin B, and most of them come from our diet. Due to the various types of vitamin B, they can be found in a variety of sources. In terms of their roles, vitamin B performs 2 main functions in the human body. 1, to make energy from the ingested food, and 2, to make red blood cells. It's important to note that some vitamin B types only perform one of these functions, but there are also other types that are involved in both functions. Deficiency in vitamin B can lead to one or more diseases depending on the number of types of vitamin B deficiency. For example, deficiency in vitamin B12 and vitamin B6 can cause anemia, which is insufficient red blood cells. On the other hand, deficiency in vitamin B1 and B3 can lead to mental confusion. Now, we will take a look at another water-soluble vitamin, vitamin C. Vitamin C has various functions in the body. One of its most important functions is to protect the body from infections. It also contributes to the growth and repair of tissues. Not those kind of tissues. The tissues in your body, like your bones, your teeth, and your skin. Now, you might be wondering where you can find vitamin C. Well, the best sources of vitamin C are fruits and vegetables. Peppers and broccoli have the highest vitamin C content among the many kinds of vegetables. Now, it's commonly believed that oranges are the best source of vitamin C among fruits. However, this is not actually the case. The fruit that is the best source of vitamin C is actually guava. In second place, it's papaya, and kiwis are the third best source of vitamin C among fruits. Oranges are actually the 4th highest. So what happens when you don't consume enough vitamin C? Well, vitamin C deficiency can lead to a disease called scurvy. Scurvy was a disease that many pirates and sailors used to have when they were out at sea for long periods of time without access to fresh fruits and vegetables. You see, vitamin C is necessary to produce collagen. Collagen is the main protein component of the tissues in our body, and collagen alone makes up 35% of the whole body's protein content. Scurvy has many symptoms, such as brown spots on the skin, bleeding from different mucous membranes, spongy gums, loss of teeth, and even death. Now look at two fat-soluble vitamins, vitamins A and D. We will first take a look at vitamin A. Vitamin A's main role in the body is maintaining and protecting vision. Vitamin A is critical for vision because it's a component of rhodopsin, a protein that detects and absorbs light in the eyes. There are two main sources of vitamin A. The first is in foods from animal sources, which includes fish, meat, liver, and eggs. The second is in leafy green vegetables, orange and yellow vegetables, and fruit. The top three choices are squash, carrot, and spinach. A deficiency in vitamin A is usually rare, since most foods contain at least a small amount of it. Vitamin A deficiency is usually much more prevalent in developing countries like Nigeria and India, where access to food is much more restricted. Deficiency is more common during periods of high nutritional demand, such as during infancy and childhood. One of the most common symptoms of vitamin A deficiency is xerophthalmia, or the inability to see in low light or in darkness. The second fat-soluble vitamin we will be talking about is vitamin D. Vitamin D is also known as the sunshine vitamin because it's produced in your skin in response to sunlight. You can also get vitamin D from supplements, and a very small amount comes from some foods like salmon. Vitamin D works to promote bone growth and bone strength. This is important since vitamin D regulates the absorption of calcium and phosphorus, which are two essential components for developing the structure and strength of your bones. So, even if you eat lots of foods that contain calcium and phosphorus, without enough vitamin D, you can't absorb them into your body. Vitamin D is also an important factor in making sure your muscles, heart, lungs, and brain work well and that your body is able to fight infection. Too little vitamin D results in the softening of the bones. This disease is known as rickets in children and osteomalacia in adults. Vitamins are essential nutrients needed by the body to grow, develop, and function normally. The two types of vitamins are fat-soluble and water-soluble vitamins. We discussed two water-soluble vitamins, vitamin B, involved in the production of energy and red blood cells, and vitamin C, which is associated with tissue growth and repair. We also discussed two fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, which plays a role in vision, and vitamin D, which is involved in bone growth and strength.
A, C, E, D, B, K. No, this isn't some random out-of-order alphabet. These are vitamins. And just like letters build words, they're the building blocks that keep the body running. Vitamins are organic compounds we need to ingest in small amounts to keep functioning. They're the body's builders, defenders, and maintenance workers, helping it to build muscle and bone, make use of nutrients, capture and use energy, and heal wounds. If you need convincing about vitamin value, just consider the plight of olden-day sailors who had no access to vitamin-rich fresh produce. They got scurvy, but vitamin C, abundant in fruits and vegetables, was the simple antidote to this disease. While bacteria, fungi, and plants produce their own vitamins, our bodies can't, so we have to get them from other sources. So how does the body get vitamins from out there into here? That's dependent on the form these compounds take. Vitamins come in two types, lipid-soluble and water-soluble, and the difference between them determines how the body transports and stores vitamins and gets rid of the excess. The water-solubles are vitamin C and B complex vitamins that are made up of 8 different types that each do something unique. These are dissolved in the watery parts of fruits, vegetables, and grains, meaning their passage through the body is relatively straightforward. Once inside the system, these foods are digested, and the vitamins within them are taken up directly by the bloodstream. Because blood plasma is water-based, water-soluble vitamins C and B have their transport cut out for them and can move around freely within the body. For lipid-soluble vitamins, dissolved in fat and found in foods like dairy, butter, and oils, this trip into the blood is a little more adventurous. These vitamins make it through the stomach and the intestine, where an acidic substance called bile flows in from the liver, breaking up the fat and preparing it for absorption through the intestinal wall. Because fat-soluble vitamins can't make use of the blood's watery nature, they need something else to move them around. And that comes from proteins that attach to the vitamins and act like couriers, transporting fat solubles into the blood and around the body. So this difference between water or fat-soluble vitamins determines how they get into the blood, but also how they're stored or ejected from the body. The system's ability to circulate water-soluble vitamins in the bloodstream so easily means that most of them can be passed out equally easily via the kidneys. Because of that, most water-soluble vitamins need to be replenished on a daily basis through the food we eat. But fat-soluble vitamins have staying power because they can be packed into the liver and in fat cells. The body treats these parts like a pantry, storing the vitamins there and rationing them out when needed, meaning we shouldn't overload on this type of vitamin because the body is generally well stocked. Once we've figured the logistics of transport and storage, the vitamins are left to do the work they came here to do in the first place. Some, like many of the B-complex vitamins, make up coenzymes, whose job it is to help enzymes release the energy from food. Other B vitamins then help the body to use that energy. From vitamin C, you get the ability to fight infection and make collagen, a kind of tissue that forms bones and teeth and heals wounds. Vitamin A helps make white blood cells, key in the body's defense, helps shape bones, and improves vision by keeping the cells of the eye in check. Vitamin D gathers calcium and phosphorus so we can make bones, and vitamin E works as an antioxidant, getting rid of elements in the body that can damage cells. Finally, from vitamin K, we score the ability to clot blood, since it helps make the proteins that do this job. Without this vitamin variety, humans face deficiencies that cause a range of problems, like fatigue, nerve damage, heart disorders, or diseases like rickets and scurvy. On the other hand, too much of any vitamin can cause toxicity in the body. So there goes the myth that loading yourself with supplements is a great idea. In reality, it's all about getting the balance right and hitting that vitamin jackpot.